It's there.
Welcome to Meat Pies and Shots, Episode 2, Part 1. I'm Johnny Compton.
I'm Dan Tomlinson.
And here we are, talking about our rubbish again. Right then, so, where do we start, Dan? Let's have a look at what we talked about last time. Our league positions and our predictions. Now, I'm smiling here because Dan's are quite funny.
Yeah, this is where I go put the kettle on and just go away. I just go hide my face.
We talked about now, my prediction for the league at the end of the year. Now, I've got one glaring problem where I'll hold my hands up and say I got it wrong. But I've Saints first, Wire second, Cass third, FC fourth, Wakefield fifth, Catalan sixth. I went for Wigan seventh, Rovers to finish eighth, Leeds ninth, Huddersfield 10th, London 11th, Salford 12th. Obviously, that Salford one, what do I know? But Dan's are interesting.
Mine are horrendous. Let's not beat her on the bush here. We've got Saints to finish top, Wire second, Wigan third, Cass fourth, Hull fifth, Leeds sixth. Got a mare there, Anna. Catalan seventh, Salford eighth, Wakey ninth. I'm sorry, Wakefield. I thought your fat lads might have struggled a little bit, but they've proven me wrong so far.
Some engines then, boys.
Rovers 10th, London 11th, and Huddersfield to get relegated. Obviously, we're only 6 rounds in, it must be said. We're recording this on the Monday after round 6. But yeah, as it stands right now, you can see why he's got a smile on his face.
Well, apart from Salford, we talked about it actually before we decided to film this, and the Salford and London results, they've distorted the league a little bit, haven't they, at the minute? And whether that can continue, who knows? I'd suggest probably not, but makes it interesting. Right, let's start off with Castleford Tigers. What do we make of them then?
Good, really good. Just to be short and blunt. They've impressed me. What I like about Cass now is everyone knows they can throw the ball about and play really expansive, attractive rugby. But they've also got that tough side to the game now. Daryl Powell's developed the sort of, the nitty gritty stuff that you need to win Super League Grand Finals, and that's what let them down when they played Leeds. They got turned over because they couldn't play that type of rugby. Whereas now they've got a bit more of a backbone for me now. They've got a really good forward pack. When Cass played Hull, I was really impressed with the likes of Senny Lafayette, Junior Moores, Grant Millington. They've got some big blokes. Liam Watts goes without saying. If you look closer, you'll be able to see a few tears coming out my eyes. It's still raw for me because I'm a big Watts fan. But yeah, Cass have got a really good side for me. They're complemented really well. They're not top heavy anymore. They've got a good pack, good outside backs. I know Luke Gale's injured, but they've got a good promising half in Jake Truman. Jordan Rankin's come in. We know he's an average Super League player. He's a likeable fella, but he's doing a job at the moment. He's doing what's asked from him, and obviously that coincides with them being third in the table right now. So they're clearly doing something right, and I think that will continue. I don't see Cass falling away. I think they're a shoo-in for the playoffs.
I think top 3 for me, Cass, all the way. I look at it, I think Matauti has made a big difference to them. Coming in and playing. They struggled a little bit post-Hardacre, didn't they? And losing him out of their team, he was such the focal point. They brought Matauti in, and this year in particular, I think he's gone really well. I mean, you talk about Jordan Rankin as well, and I've never been Jordan Rankin's biggest fan as a player. I always thought he would bang average, to be honest, but he's gone into that team, and Powell's worked his magic again. I mean, they rocked up yesterday. He played Salford, banging form. Salford really, look what they did to Catalans last week. And yes, it was a closer game than you'd have probably expected at the start of the year, but they found a way to win. And that comes back to that strong sort of spine that you're talking about.
And that's exactly what I'm getting at. They've found different ways to win games now. It's not all about, the Harlem Globetrotter stuff. They can do it tough and they can do it, ugly wins. We talk about ugly wins all the time. Cats can do that now.
McShane is absolute key for them now. Everything is going through. Without Gale there, without that focal point, somebody else had to step up and take on the mantle of being the leader of that team and getting them about the pitch. And McShane is doing that. And then with Liam Watts throwing the ball about like he's Sean O'Loughlin, left and right passes, 30 metres on the button. As well as the hard graft, that they've got a really good balance. I do think they're relying on Watts and McShane, but then there's not a team in Super League that isn't reliant on 1 or 2 players. You take 2 of your better players out of any team and they drop off. they're a well-balanced team. They will go really well, particularly at home. I think I fancy Cass for the grand final this year. Whether they'll win it or not, I don't know. But I do. There's something about them where they've taken that next step for me, and they've gone from, as you said, that Harlem Globetrotters team who throw the ball about and play pretty expansive rugby. They've gone to a team that they're never going to go away. Darryl Powell famously said last year that a Lee Radford team never goes away. Do you know, you can see it, and I'd say you look, and he challenged some of his players and said they weren't necessarily them type of players. You look at them now and you'd say they definitely are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so takes us on to the next team beginning with C, Catalans. Now this is very much up and down, isn't it?
So yo-yo, aren't they? I mean, they go and beat Warrington at home, and then 7 days later they get beat 46-0 on the same pitch to Salford. I won't discredit Salford because on that day they were ridiculously good, but it says a lot about Catalans, doesn't it? And they still got travelling problems, clearly, because I watched that game, or bits of that game. Hull had our first wheelchair game, give them a little plug. We beat Medway 72-12 yesterday afternoon.
Close game.
Yeah, real close game, good start to the season. And I got back, I watched a little bit of the Rovers Catalans game. Must admit, it was when Catalans started scoring, that's when I turned it on. My mate texted me. And they've clearly got problems when they come here, haven't they? When they come to England, they're just not the same side that they are in the south of France. And it's weird because the same old things happened last season. They started the year horrendously. They got the arrival of Josh Drinkwater, and then things turned for them and they ended up winning the cup. So they're such an unbalanced team, aren't they? Consistency is a massive problem. They're brilliant one week, then they're nothing short of horrendous the next. And I remember Peter Gentle at Hull FC. Apologies if there's too many references to Hull, but we are, tall black and whites after all. But Peter Gentle said when he came to Hull, this was before Lee Radford was the coach, that he wanted Hull's best performance to be not far away from the West. So your performance level is bang, bang, bang every week. You might not win every week, but as long as you're competing in games, that's what matters. And Catalans don't do that. One week, as I say, they're red hot, the next they're horrendous. And it's something that Steve McNamara has really got to address there.
I do think again, I said it about Cass, but they're reliant on one or two players again. I think Tompkins and McAlorum are really big for him. McAlorum was obviously missed yesterday, went off injured the week before. He's effectively the spiritual leader, and carries them through. There's a strong Lancastrian influence on that team now, and it's not necessarily a negative thing. I think that they're trying to insert some of that Sean Wayne doggedness and toughness and almost grubbiness. That it's what they needed. It's what they needed to do to make them into a team that are not just gonna be flat track bullies, warm weather winners. They are a team who are going to compete against everybody. There is a question whether or not Matty Smith is exactly what they need. Has he gone 1-2 years too long? I was a positive about the Matty Smith signing when it was made, and that he would add to them. I see why they went for it. They've tried to balance it out by losing Drinkwater, haven't they? And they've gone for a same style of half, to get him about the pitch. McNamara obviously wants that sort of player with playing the old Bradford way. He's their Paul Deakin, isn't he? Effectively to get him about. I don't know. 1 week, as you said, 1 week they turn around and they absolutely batter Warrington, and they fully deserved that victory there. And Warrington have been a good team so far this year, and then the next week they go and get not just beaten by Salford, because you could take that sort of on current form. Salford could beat Catalans, comfortably. It's not too much of a stretch, but to beat them 46-0 is any team to get beat 46-0 in Super League this year. That's a big deal, and you've got to be really off. And then I'm sort of gonna temper that a little bit by the fact that in any given game, the team that wins tends to be who rides their momentum out the best. And at the moment, Catalans aren't particularly great with them, or when their momentum goes against them, they don't seem to find a way to turn it around until yesterday. And I'm smiling because it was against them dead Dobbins. So it was they showed some character in England. There's some positive signs there. I do think they'll just miss the playoffs, Catalans. but I think that they're going to take some scalps. I think their season will continue very much
as it is now.
On a very similar vein. They'll turn some teams over where you don't expect them to, and then they'll lose some games where you expect them to win.
Yeah, I can agree more with that, really. Moving on, Huddersfield, they're the team that I infamously tipped to get relegated, and they're currently 12th after 6 rounds. That's what, just short of a fifth of the way through this season. I stand by it, I really do. There's something really wrong there. We said this on, Meat Pies and Shots, the first episode, that, they tried to shop out one of the best players in Sebastian Kafifa. Why did Danny Bruff leave all of a sudden? And they brought Matt Frawley in, who was absolutely toilet.
He really is bang average, isn't he?
I think bang average is injustice to the players that are generally bang average. He's abysmal. He's shocking. I all went there a few weeks ago and we were uncomfortable without getting out of first gear, and Frawley was atrocious. It was shocking.
There's no creativity there, is there?
No, there's nothing.
They're heavily reliant on Cruz Lehman.
He's a good young player. Yeah, he's a good in that.
And their first half performances have been reasonably strong, and I thought it was again against St Helens. Physically, they're up to it at Huddersfield. You can see that they've got some tough physical players, but this tactic of playing lots of form. I mean, Sky have been banging on about it, about how it's great that they've got all this fast mobile pack and all these players who are now playing in the forwards who used to be outside backs.
Aaron Murphy's, Michael Warren.
Yeah, but back end of games, they're getting busted up because they're lacking the durability and they're lacking the toughness and the know-how to get them over the line with it. Aside from Akumatai and Seb Ika-Heifer, they look a small pack. They look like they're going to get bullied, and there's nobody within that forward pack who you look at and you go, yeah, they're going to cause us problems. Joe Waddle's a very good player, but his best rugby has always been in the centre for me.
Yeah.
He's very much an edge player. Lee Gaskell, he's a decent half. He's not an halfback who's going to take you to a top 4 finish, who's going to win you a trophy. And Matt Frawley, as Dan said, for me, probably one of the poorest import halfbacks that we've ever seen in Super League, and we've seen some poor ones. So,
yeah, I just don't see where their wins are going to come from. But then again, hopefully the next game against Rovers, hopefully they'll win that one. But
I do think they're not a million miles away sometimes. And
at that second half for me, as soon as St Helens stepped it up, they couldn't live with them. Wait, I know that's maybe an unfair comparison because that happens with most teams when they play St Helens. You can sort of stick with Saints, but when they go that next level up, that's when teams will fall away from them because they are good. Them and Wire, obviously, they're runaways in the competition right now. But Huddersfield, when we went there, they had nothing about them. There was never a threat. Even they got it back to 8-8 at one point. They actually went 8-6 ahead. Sorry, not 8-8. And even then, not worried at all. We knew Hull FC would come back in the second half. I had no problem, no doubts whatsoever, and that's how it panned out. They don't look anything like that team that rejuvenated themselves last year and won all those games when Wolford first came in. They're just a really poor team, and I genuinely see them going down.
They do have that in them though, don't they? Do you know that ability to pull 2 or 3 results out in a row? I think there'll be a point in the season where they do have a bit of a purple patch.
Well, they need to do that this Friday when they play Rovers. That goes without saying. If they don't beat them, then they really are in trouble because you've got Rovers pulling away London. You never know, they could pull out a couple of shocks at more wins.
Do we have a situation where potentially those that have played Huddersfield already have got them at the right end of the season, at the right point where they've not clicked and they're not ready, and maybe they're underdone and they're trying to play the different style. The style of rugby they played, and it's reasonably expansive, and they go side to side and they look to hit the edge runners who are dangerous. There's some part of me that thinks they're going to put a run together at some point and they'll just about be okay. I don't think they'll be bottom. I think they'll be 10th, 11th.
Interesting. I'll stick to my guns. Moving on. Hull FC, yeah. I've actually been relatively impressed. I say satisfied with Hull start, really.
If you go back a week, if we was filming this a week ago,
it would have all been buzzing, wouldn't we? Just beating Leeds, and let's face it, Leeds are only one step on the voodoo ladder than Rovers. I can't stand Leeds. I absolutely despise them. So to beat them so comfortably was brilliant, wasn't it? It was a great win for us there. Wakefield were really good against Hull. You've got to give a lot of credit to Wakefield. They just played well, and it happens on the day. You know, you just get beat by the better team, and you can accept that.
They were better than us. I don't think they were that good. I think they were better than us. I think they played the conditions better. I think they played a steady game plan, and they made a few errors. Their left edge ripped us apart in the first half, really. Other than that, I don't know. It was a nip and tuck game. Both teams are roughly similar standard this year, I think. Although I would, and this may maybe being a bit biased, but I would say that if it comes down to a big game, I'd back us over Wakefield in a playoff game, a cup game. They've got some bigger forwards that we struggle to handle. Their left edge was a real handful, and it's a shame what's happened to Tom Johnston.
Wish him all the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the same with Bill Tupou. They could count the cost of last weekend over the course of this year. Really, it could impact their season in a negative way. I hope not, because I like Wakefield, and I do think they'll make the playoffs. But in terms of Hull, we're not a million miles away. We just need to. I think we get through to April relatively unscathed. Albert Kelly's getting better week on week. Sika Manu's really starting to step up. I just thought our middles were poor. Middles props, really. Massey, Scott Taylor, they were out-muscled by Wakefield.
John Thompson as well.
Yeah, just incidentally, Gareth Ellis being our best middle. And I think he'd just come back when we last filmed this. He's been rolled the years back, and long may that continue.
It's amazing that people, criticised or laughed at that decision to bring Ellis back. I can understand if it was, an average Joe, but we're talking about Gareth Ellis. There's a handful of players that have been better in the past 20 years. In Super League than Gareth Ellis. He's a phenomenal player, and to say he's 37 years old, 38 in May, which is incredible, and he's still, at the peak of his powers. I think Johnny will agree with me that he definitely retired, prematurely for me. 100%. Maybe his head was thinking he could actually go on. Maybe he had that bit of doubt. But for me, maybe he looked at the pecking order at Hull and thought maybe it's time to let these, young lads have a go. But no, for me, he should have kept on playing, and he's proven that in the games where he's come back on. I mean, Wigan, Huddersfield, when he came on, the performance lifted, and that helped us get the win against Leeds. I'll use this point against Leeds in the 34-10 win. The game wasn't in the balance, Hull were on top, but Ellis came on at a similar time to when Brad Singleton came on. And Ellis just completely nullified the impact that Singleton had. And it's just little things like that make Ellis stand out as the player he's been throughout his career, and to have him back's great. I think that coincides. We have got some very good players, We've got Joe Westerman, who's been outstanding so far this season. Albert Kelly, he's come back into the side. Mark Sneed, the longer they play together. Jamie Shaw look full back. We'll click and we'll look good. Jake Connor's out at the minute as well. Unfortunately, he's picked up a knee injury. But we can, when you've got a span of, as I say, Shaw, Kelly, Sneed, Westerman, Connor in the centre, Manu on the right edge, he's in great form, isn't he? So when we get all them together, and I know it sounds like a broken record with the injury thing again, but it's genuine, isn't it? When we go full tilt, I have no doubt that we're a playoff side. No, I generally believe 100%, that.
I do still think we'll finish fourth. I think we'll put a run together, and we'll win more than we lose.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll definitely win more than we lose. I just can't wait till we get, go full tilt again. We won't even mention Josh Bowden, Chris Green. They still haven't played this season yet.
Is it?
So when we get our, Andre Savelio, new signing,
tremendous signing,
brilliant signing. He's going to come back into. He's going to come back into this country. I think he's actually back now. We're recording this on the Monday after round 6. I don't believe he flew in this weekend, so he'll be training this week. I imagine he'll play in the reserves. There's no point chucking him in at London, is there? And then he might make his debut against Warrington, which will have a bit of irony about it. One of his old clubs, won't it? So, but we'll see.
Well, there's no rush, is there?
No, there's no rush.
We're not in a bad place. I'm reasonably happy with all.
Yeah.
Without being ecstatic. Nobody likes to lose, but we've been in much worse positions before.
Absolutely. And I'll also point out 2016, Hull were 3-0-3 after 6 games, and look what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Not that I'm suggesting, it's just like to throw out the odd stat now and then.
That takes us to the end of part 1 of Meat Pies and Shots. We'll see you soon.
It's there.